Alright, so it's Sunday the 14th of June 2015 and I'm coming to you from downtown Manhattan, New York. I'm standing here on the west side of the island, and if I zoom in here you can see the Statue of Liberty over there on Liberty Island. And over there on the other side of the Hudson River is New Jersey. I've got my Green Machine bike with me, and I've got it rigged up with my action camera, and I'm going to film a tour showing the Hudson River, riding along the Hudson River bike path, which goes pretty much the whole length of Manhattan all along the west side. So the tour begins in this little park that I'm standing in here, which is right near the bottom of Manhattan in the downtown area, and it's very close to this very tall building up there with the point on it, which is now the tallest building in New York City. It's called One World Trade Center. It's built very close to where the Twin Towers once stood. Alright, and we're off. So the first part of this ride is just through this park. I believe you're allowed to ride bikes through here, but it's certainly not a bikeway, so be prepared to go slowly. Very shortly though we will be on the official bike path, which is very fast moving bikeway, or certainly faster than this is in this area. So it's a really nice sunny warm day. It's 29 degrees Celsius. Not many clouds in the sky. And when I looked at the weather in Toronto, and from what I heard from other people, it's a very gloomy, rainy day there. So lucky to be missing that. Alright, so we're just heading a little bit away from the water now, going in the east direction. The bikeway that I'm going to be going on runs alongside the West Side Highway. Just gotta wait for this crosswalk. And straight ahead, the building that has the bottom, where the bottom is mostly white colored. The big one, which is on the right up ahead, that's that One World Trade Center building that I was talking about.
Which building is the World Trade Center?
That's the One World Trade Center right there, yeah.
Oh, so over there is 9/11 is it?
Pardon?
The 9/11 is it?
Yeah, it's just beyond there over there.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Anyways, we'll continue along here. So this is the bikeway which I was describing. And it's mostly just bikes. There's a few rollerbladers that use it. There's some sections where it's shared with pedestrians and runners. But this section here, based on the symbols on the pavement, seems to just be for cyclists. I just got a crosswalk here to get over. So I arrived in Manhattan last night around 10 p.m. I took a Greyhound bus here from my home in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. And after I got here, I just spent most of the rest of the evening unpacking at my hotel. And then this morning I was up on the road about 10 o'clock, and I was out riding around exploring mostly the downtown area of Manhattan. I did also go over to Brooklyn briefly. So this is my second time coming to New York. The last time was August of 2011, so almost 4 years ago. And when I did that trip, I did things almost exactly the same way that I'm doing in this trip. I've essentially repeated my holiday because it worked out so well the first time. I took the same mode of transportation, stayed at the same hotel, brought a bike with me, of course. In fact, the same bike, my green machine. So as we get further north, you can see that we're rejoining where the water is. We're very close to the Hudson River on our right-hand side. And this pathway goes on like it is right now for a very long distance. And in this video, I'm planning on showing the full length of this trail. That's the plan anyways. And I should be able to do it as long as I don't have any bad luck with my video or audio recording equipment. So you can see over on our left, in addition to this bike path, the park, there's a park over on our left with lots of green stuff and trees. And then beyond them, there's another pathway which is for pedestrians, where you're not supposed to ride a bike. But just to give you a sense of it, I'm just gonna nip over here for a very short block and show you what it looks like. So not only did New Yorkers get a beautiful bike path which runs all along their west side, but they also have nice grassy lawns where they can sit out and enjoy a nice summer day like this. So I'll get back over here so I don't get in trouble. So I've been in New York now for a little bit less than a day, probably 18 hours or so. And I'm really loving my trips so far. And I'm really glad that I brought my bike because I don't think there's any better way to see the city. At least if you're, already a person that's comfortable riding a bike in a city. I do have to say, having ridden a bike a lot in Toronto, immediately after I started riding here, I could feel a big difference, and I definitely feel a lot safer riding around on these roads. It seems like a much larger percentage of roads in New York City have bike lanes on them or bike infrastructure. But even the ones that don't still seem safer somehow. The cars just seem to be more accepting of bikes. So we're just going past Christopher Street. I like how they put these road signs along here so you know where you are, because it's difficult. You sometimes could lose track of where exactly you are along the island because you're so isolated from it. I mean, this trail is just so continuous that you don't even realize how fast you're going and how many things you're going past. So we're almost at the area where my hotel is. I'm staying at a hotel called the Jane Hotel, and as I said, it's the same hotel that I stayed at the last time that I came to New York City, and it's just on the other side of this highway on the right side. I'll certainly point it out when we get to it. Going past West 11th. It's not on a numbered street. It's before the numbered streets become consistent in this part of Manhattan. It's on a street called Jane Street, and the hotel is called the Jane Hotel. And I can just see it poking through the trees now. There we go. So it's that red brick building over there. The one with the spire thing on the top. It's a octagon shape. It says hotel on it. And it's a very historic hotel. It was built in the very early 1900s. And it celebrated its 100th anniversary not too long ago. But it's a very unique hotel. It was originally a hotel which was designed for sailors when they came into port here and they had to stay overnight. And it was just a place for them to crash. You know, nothing too fancy. And the rooms themselves are actually very tiny. They're about 50 square feet. So there's just enough room in there for a narrow bed, a little bit of floor space, and that's it. The washrooms are shared with others on the floor in other rooms. And for me, it's the ideal kind of hotel because it's, you know, quite affordable for if you want to stay in a place that's on Manhattan and, you know, in the action. But the idea in terms of vacation, and my idea is you don't want to be spending, you come to a place that's got lots going on, you want to spend a minimal amount of time in your actual hotel room, really just come there to get changed and sleep. And shower, and that's about it. So having a tiny little hotel room has been perfect for me. The rooms are $115 per night. At least at this time of the year. I know they're cheaper when it's not the summer, when it's not in peak season. This building over there on the right is a really neat looking one, and it looks really neat as well. At night when they light it up, I know I saw that and I made a little clip of it the last time that I visited here, back in 2011. On my last trip to New York City, I made a whole big series of video vlogs about my experiences coming here, and those have been up on YouTube ever since then. There's a lot of them. There's many hours of footage. So it's not something that I'd expect most people would watch in their entirety, but you know, if there's certain things in New York City you're interested in learning about, it's a neat way to learn about them through my eyes. So I will provide a link to that old playlist in the video description of this video. You see bikes of all different kinds along here. I'd say I see quite a few road bikes. Lots of hybrid bikes, a few mountain bikes. You also see a lot of these, like what's coming up on the left here, the blue bikes with the flashing light on the front of them. That is their city bike program. It's a bike share that they have here. The bikes look identical, or very similar to the bike share bikes that we have in Toronto. In Toronto they're called the Toronto Bike Share, and before that they used to be called Bixie bikes. So we were kind of like a guinea pig for that idea. We had, our small Bixie program before New York City got their equivalent one. But there's a much, much bigger. Many more bikes, many more stations. A much bigger area that they cover. Along this river there's also all kinds of other activities. Like there is some soccer fields and tennis courts and basketball courts and lots of other sporting venues. This is a helicopter launch pad on the left, I believe, for helicopter tours of New York City. So far we've gone about 5 kilometers. We're traveling at about 22 kilometers per hour, averaging at about 19.3 kilometers per hour. And on the screen as you're watching this, hopefully you'll be able to see my instantaneous speed as well as my heart rate. Now we're just going past the Empire State Building, although it's much closer to the east side of Manhattan near the East River. But you can just kind of see it. Oh, couldn't quite get it in time, but I'll certainly make a little video clip of it when we get closer to it. Straight ahead I can see a big white building, which isn't actually a building, it's a cruise ship. So soon we'll get to see that up close. I'm not sure if I'll get another shot at the Empire State Building. It's kind of hidden over there. Here we go. So we're just going past West 40th Street. All right, and I'm going to pull over here. So if you look over in this direction, you can see the point, the very top of the Empire State Building. Way over there on the east side of the island. So the Empire State Building is now the second tallest building in Manhattan. After the Twin Towers got destroyed, the Empire State Building reclaimed the title of tallest building in New York until one World Trade Center was finished, and now it's the tallest. So as I mentioned, straight ahead there's a cruise ship, and before that there's a big warship, a big gray ship that has all kinds of airplanes parked on top of it. There we go. There's the warship. It's called Intrepid. And we're now just approaching West 46th Street. And the cruise ship is an NCL. It's the name of the cruise line. That's what they have, parking spots for two big cruise ships there. Oh, sorry. I guess I shouldn't have gone through that. The cruise ship's got a New York themed paint job on the front there. The Statue of Liberty and all the buildings and everything. It must dock there quite a bit. Oh, and there's more cruise ship parking along here as well. That was a neat vehicle. Over there on the left, or on the right, looks like it was a three-wheeled car. Two front wheels, one back wheel.
We have a big company.
So I hope you're enjoying joining me on this ride through Manhattan. I'm hoping to make lots more videos like this while I'm here. As I said, the last trip that I did, I kind of did vlogs just from my hotel room, just talking about what I had seen and done during the day. But most recently, I've really been getting into these riding videos, which people seem to like watching, and I enjoy making them, so I figured I would document my trip using this method this time, so people can join me for bike rides. But it's also a good chance to essentially do what I did the last time, by just kind of talking and telling about my experiences kind of in a vlog format, but rather than the backdrop of my vlog being the wall in my hotel room, the backdrop is the roads and trails of New York City. So right now we're riding underneath that West Side Highway. At the lower part of Manhattan, it's a grade level boulevard with lots of traffic light crosswalks across it and a big green island in the middle. But further north, it's an elevated highway, and it's actually kind of nice right now riding in it in the shade. As I said, it's kind of a hot day, and I've been outside for most of it, enjoying the sunshine. After lunch, I did go back to my hotel room briefly to relax a little bit and get changed and get ready to film this video. But I was also listening to little bits of the baseball game. I follow the Toronto Blue Jays, my home Major League Baseball team. And I have to say, the last few weeks of the Blue Jays season have been really, really exciting. As of yesterday, they had a 10-game win streak. And they're playing the game today, which was their chance at getting 11 straight, which is their franchise record. The biggest win streak they've had in the history was 11, so today was their chance to tie it. So I listened to the first 6 innings of the game, and when I left the game, the Blue Jays were up 10-0, so very good chances of continuing that win streak. But a reason that I'm particularly excited for this, particularly want this win streak to continue, is because tomorrow the Blue Jays are coming to New York City to play against the Mets. And that's a big reason of why I planned my vacation around this particular week, because I've got tickets to go and see the Blue Jays play the Mets at Citi Field for tomorrow and the next day. So I've really been hoping all along that they're going to be able to keep this win streak going, because if they win today, then tomorrow is their chance at 12 in a row, which the Blue Jays have never done. So it'll just make an away game that much more exciting. I've never seen the Blue Jays play anywhere other than at home. So I'm really excited to see them play somewhere else, and being that the Blue Jays are an American League team, and they're playing a National League team at the National League team's park, it means that they'll be playing by National League rules, which includes that pitchers have to bat in the lineup. They don't have a designated hitter. So I'm interested to see that for the first time, live. So as you see, this Hudson River bikeway has now gone right beside the river, and it's less of just a bikeway now. It's shared with pedestrians and other forms of transportation. I think there's a guy. But it's still a really great place to ride bikes. When I came here the last time I was in New York City, I rode this trail so many times. To me, it was just such a perfect way to get up and down the island, especially since my hotel is just off right beside it. So it means that wherever I am in the island, all I have to do is just get over to the Hudson River, jump on this path, and I have a safe way to get home. And now, having returned back to it and riding on it again, I think I'm prepared to say that this is my favorite bike trail that I've ever ridden on. favorite place to ride. It's just such a relaxed feeling riding here. We just rode past a recumbent cyclist. So now I believe we're in Riverside Park, the park which is on our right. And the highway, the West Side Highway, cuts right through that park, kind of runs on top of it. And the idea was that when they built it, it was supposed to be like a parkway. Well, that's what they called it, the parkway. And it was supposed to, give you the feeling that you weren't driving your car, you were having a nice afternoon in the park. Making it seem like driving was a really enjoyable thing to do. And I believe Riverside Park was built on top of what used to be the big garbage dump for Manhattan. So this part of the trail, you can see that on the right there's like a break wall, a stone wall between us and the cars, and a little ditch. And I think that's where the actual bank of the Hudson River is. And to be able to connect this trail, they built this section up and over it, so it's essentially a bridge. And that's a great thing that they did to make the trail continuous, because it would be a real inconvenience if, this trail was all there except for that part, and you'd have to, do a big bypass to get around it. Which seems to be the case in a lot of other places. I don't know if we saw that in the clip, but the guy that I was just going past on the left had some kind of an animal in his front basket. And you see a lot of people that have their dogs in there, but this, I don't know if it was a dog. I'll have to look at the footage afterwards, but to me it looked like a groundhog he had in there. Maybe just a really scruffy dog. So straight ahead you can see a big suspension bridge. That is the George Washington Bridge. It goes across the Hudson River over to New Jersey. And this trail continues all the way up to there. And I don't think it goes that much further after that, so maybe that'll be where I turn around. It's a really big, impressive bridge. I remember from the last time just standing underneath it and looking up, it just seemed enormous. Very high up in the air. On my last trip, I never had the experience of actually riding my bike across the bridge, but I'm hoping to be able to do that this time. Well, that will be in a different video. Hopefully I'll film it at least. Lots of boats over in the harbor, not a whole lot right here. You can see a sailboat and some other kind of, two other motorboats are going along about the same speed as I'm going. Alright, so here you can see the signs say that where I am is for bikes only, and that little strip on the left is where pedestrians are supposed to go. People don't usually seem to be very good at following those rules. You can see there's somebody walking and riding together. But not a big deal. You certainly see a lot of people with lots of biking gear. with very fast looking road bikes. I get the sense that this Hudson River bike path is a great place to go if you want to go really fast, because it's so straight, so continuous, not very many traffic lights or stop signs or anything like that. Very nice scenic route as well. You get a nice cool breeze coming off the river. It's very pleasant as long as you can ignore all of the loud noise from the cars and trucks barreling down beside you. You just look out of your left eye and listen out of your left ear. It's very pleasant. Although in Manhattan, it's pretty hard to get away from the traffic noise. Yeah, it's one of those kind of days where you can ride without your shirt. I'm still wearing mine though. So our distance so far is 12.3 kilometers. And we're averaging just under 20 kilometers per hour. My heart rate's sitting right now at about 140. I'm really not working that hard, just kind of taking it easy. The bike that I'm riding is not particularly fast, although I have recently upgraded the tires to narrow. I mean, there's still mountain bike rims, but they've got road tires, road mountain bike tires. They don't have any big knobby things on them, and they're a little bit narrower than standard mountain bike tires, and I certainly feel that they have less resistance and they make it easier to go faster. In preparation for this trip, I installed a mirror on my handlebars on the right side of my bike. For the last several years, probably more than 5 years, I ride my bikes all the time with a mirror on my left side. And that allows me to keep an eye on what's coming up behind me if I'm riding along a road that's shared with vehicles. But the last time that I was in New York, I found that there were so many roads that had bike lanes on them, but the bike lanes were on the, since there's so many one-way streets, often when there's a one-way street and they put a bike lane, they put the bike lane on the left-hand side of the road. So you're riding on the left side and you have cars coming up beside you from behind on your right, and you have no idea, you know, how close they are to you. So last time I found that I was constantly, you know, peeking over my shoulder to see what was coming behind me, just because it's hard to have full trust that the vehicles are paying attention and not texting on their cell phones. So this time I decided I would bring a second mirror with me and mount it on the right side for those situations on those bike lanes. I have to say it's really been hard getting used to it. I'm just so not used to looking on that side. And I'll get it in the right position and I'll look, and it still takes me a sec to, you know, to focus in on that mirror and understand what's going on in the reflection that I'm seeing. I think that's just because the mirror on the left has become so second nature to me. So that sign on that, for that red roof building that we just passed on the left, it said something about gas pipeline, so I guess it's something to do with where the natural gas comes in, or some kind of a pressurizing system for it. So now again we're riding in the shade of the West Highway. But as you can see, unlike any of the other bike videos that I make regularly on this channel, I've been able to ride for a very long distance without ever having to stop, which is really nice. We just went over a bridge. I guess it's just an on-ramp for that highway, or an off-ramp. I was looking up thinking, did we already go under the George Washington Bridge? How did I miss that? But no, not really. That bridge is still coming up. You can still see it. Coming up very soon though. Actually, that bridge up ahead is another on or off ramp for the highway. I have to say it's very different making one of these videos, you know, narrated riding videos in an area that you're not very familiar with compared to what I do at home. I often make videos showing my daily commute, which are roads that I know with my eyes closed, essentially. And actually the reason that I'm starting with this video as my first one is because I know it's pretty straightforward and not likely for me to get lost on it, just because this trail is so continuous. Some kind of a bike event happening over there on the right. Maybe I'll have to check that out after I'm done this video. Although the weather today is really great, when I looked at the forecast when I was at my hotel, earlier today. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's very good weather for tomorrow or the next day. So if it's raining outside, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to spend the day. Of course, I'm still going to want to ride my bike, but I'll have to be selective of where exactly I choose to ride, and maybe try and combine it with it, make it into a day where I do a lot of my more indoor type activities that I have planned. We shall see. The other unfortunate thing about it raining the next 2 days is that, as I mentioned earlier, I've got tickets to 2 baseball games for Monday and Tuesday. And City Field, where it's being played, is a field that doesn't have a roof. It's an open air stadium. So if it rains, there's a good chance that the game will be postponed. And since I don't live here, or don't live anywhere near Manhattan, the game gets postponed. So I'll just reschedule it for another time later in the season, and I won't have the chance to go and see it. Certainly lots of people out enjoying the day in this park. It's a great day to be outside. I'm not exactly sure what the weather was like here yesterday. I got the feeling that it might have rained a bit. I think the roads were slightly wet when we arrived, but I'm not sure. As I said, I only got into town around 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. All right, so we've been riding for 45 minutes now, 46 minutes. So when I get to this bridge, the George Washington Bridge, I think it'll be a good place to stop. But I guess the lesson of this story is, if you come to New York City, find yourself a bike to ride and go and experience the Hudson River bike path. You won't regret it. Over on the right-hand side, there is a set of railway tracks, and on the left, I believe those are tennis courts, and this one's a baseball diamond. And we've gone 16.4 kilometers. Even though I'm in the US, I'm still going to quote all of my measurements in metric, because that's the unit system that I'm used to. So there's a great shot of the George Washington Bridge. It's a really big bridge with two decks of traffic. The noisy birds in that tree. What a wonderful day. I'm sure this would be very different if it wasn't a weekend as well. You certainly wouldn't see that many people outside. So I'd have to be at work and school. Although the school year is almost over now, being that it's late June.
There were a couple of
more tennis courts. And we're just getting to the base of one of the big pillars for the George Washington Bridge. Huge, enormous bridge. The trail does continue on up that way, but not too much further. It just reconnects up with the roadways there. And there's the big tower. And there's some people up there that are looking down at me. All the way over to the other side. And there's a lighthouse there as well. I was probably there before the bridge was built. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed joining me on this bike tour of the Hudson River bike path in New York City. Please stay tuned to my channel for more videos of me riding all around New York City. Please leave a comment and let me know what you thought, and thanks for watching.